Hello and a very warm welcome to the Economic Times Business Verticals presents ET Studios India AI Dialogue, brought to you by Kyndryl. Now, as enterprises accelerate their digital and AI journeys, the real differentiator is no longer technology alone, but how deeply it is embedded into business strategy and culture. So joining us to share this perspective and much more is Vijay Balakrishnan, Chief Digital and Information Officer at Godrej Enterprises Group. Right, Vijay, very warm welcome to ET Studios. Thank you so much for talking to us here at the India AI Impact Summit. What an exciting place to be at.
Absolutely, yes. A lot of energy. I mean, just the sheer volume of what's out here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me over as well.
Yes, absolutely. What a pleasure. And in fact, we're here today to really deep dive into a very exciting solution that you at Godrej Enterprises are using. Just to start with a little bit of foundation setting, can you tell us a bit about Amethyst, the program that you've initiated, and what kind of digital infrastructure are you using to ultimately support the success of Amethyst?
Sure. So, I think a few years back, digitization and let's say systems development where they focus. Then there is a lot of focus around data.
Yes.
And then data as an asset. And then came the AI era where data was still the feeder, but then there's a lot of focus around AI model development, solutions, use cases. What has happened in the last couple of years is this AI turnaround time has just come down drastically. What that means is the real asset is not any of that anymore. Well, that is still there.
Yes.
The real asset for corporates like us is the intelligence. There is intelligence that is siloed, that is pocketed into different functions. For us, we have 14 business units, so it makes it even more complex.
Yes.
So that was the spawn of the idea that is Amethyst. So Amethyst is a common intelligence layer that cuts across our business units, all our support functions, and creates a, let's say, a knowledge graph of what's happening across the end-to-end of the Godrej Enterprises spectrum.
Wow.
And it is cloud-based primarily. So we have used cloud as a base. It's just the choice to make it more scalable as we grow and evolve further. But a lot of intelligence has been around what is relevant to our organization.
Yes.
So it's almost in the 5 stacks of AI. Imagine Amethyst as a knowledge stack, which is between level 4 and level 5.
Okay. So it sounds like this surely must be a tool that helps you internally when it comes to decision-making processes as well, right? If it cuts across your business verticals. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How is it really aiding the leaders and the decision makers?
So when the problem for organizations generally is that it is the knowledge and the intelligence as well human dependent.
Yes.
It is locked between a function. It is locked within a couple of people. So what we have done is we have kind of tried to bring that into this Amethyst substrate. So what does it make? What does it help?
Yeah.
Instead of two functions talking together, both the functions can talk to Amethyst. Amethyst will do the knowledge bridge that is required to make the decision making faster. So it could be, there's also automation part of it, right? Because there was a time, the RPA scenario, where the focus was more around mundane activities, which is less cognitive, that can be automated. Now, with generative AI and overall evolution of AI, cognitive automation has been enabled in a very, very simplistic manner. So that's what Amethyst kind of enables. Decision making, yes, but then combined with agentic cognitive automation capabilities as well.
Fantastic. So, of course, the inevitable question when it comes to any new digital infrastructure is how do these solutions ultimately impact the bottom line, right? How does this impact the revenues? Of course, human efficiency, as you've touched upon. Can you elaborate a little bit on this, please?
Yeah, so overall, it is going to improve the human efficiency to at least by 10x to be conservative. And realistically, I'm saying more than 25, 50x.
Wow.
Because a lot of processes that are not automated because of the fact that, this is not very structured. There's a lot of discussions that happen, conversations, and intelligence coming out of the conversation, and also years of experience.
Yes.
Now, all that is fast tracked, and that is, kind of what's inside Amethyst. Now, what we see, and we are a little conservationist when it comes to predicting the value of technology. So we are looking at minimum 10 to 15% improvement in our productivity-driven bottom line impact. That is over the next couple of years. But as an eternal optimist myself, I truly believe that we are still scraping a very, very tip of the iceberg. There's just a lot more value that this technology will bring in.
Fantastic. So again, as a leader, very renowned person in this space, what would you say other than revenue are some of the metrics that an organization should really consider, right? Because of course, revenue, like we've just discussed, is the obvious bottom line, but there are many ways to assess the success of new technological enhancements, improvements. What would you say some of those should be?
So it's quite interesting, the question. Let's say I come back and tell you that across your organization, I'm going to free up 4 hours of everybody's time.
Yes, wow, fantastic.
For rest of the year. The question is not the 4 hours of value. That's what we tend to calculate by default.
Yeah.
It is what you can do with that additional 4 hours every day.
Yes.
Multiplied by the impact of that, right? So I'll give you a good example. We have a complex order booking process. And then we are just enabled automation of 80% of it through Amethyst platform.
Sure.
Now, of course, right? So I can think about it saying that to process the same amount of B2B orders, which requires a lot of interactions, validations, etc., I could do it with much lesser people. But then the reality of the impact is, what was to take about 7 to 14 days, I'm able to do it within an hour.
Wow. Fantastic.
And in some cases, I could do it in minutes.
Yes.
Now, that is helping me process more orders. So what you are going to see is that at least a 5x boost in my top line, which kind of is hidden behind the fact that I am enabling productivity.
Yes.
So I think that's the real value. Other than that, obviously, in about 3 to 4 years, I believe in terms of hireability, as for a company to become a potential recruiter and attract talent, this is going to be table stakes.
Yeah.
People would not want to be associated with organizations that do not have
Absolutely.
AI wedged into their functional work. So I think impacts like this are often overlooked.
Yes.
And I think that's what we are also focusing on. But even employee engagement, employee morale, think about it. Out of the 4 hours I free up, I could give back 1 hour for personal development of individuals, right? Which is priceless. I cannot put dollars around
Absolutely.
that. So I think it's going to be mix of these intangible or hidden benefits.
Yes.
That is, but then the first thing that bare minimum we want to hit is an immediate, let's say, a top line, bottom line, or productivity value.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. You're very inspiring for all the leaders watching to hear that from someone like you. Is there a layer of governance, or rather, what is the layer of governance that you have laying over Amethyst so that it can do everything that we have just discussed? All the efficiency, but also operating without much concern when it comes to security factors.
So, this is where our brand and the cultural values associated with our brand becomes a driver. When you say layer of governance, it almost sounds like, okay, the last thing I will think about.
Okay.
We have changed that game. Inside Amethyst, governance is at the core. So we actually started building ethical AI, responsible AI guardrails at the core of the Amethyst platform itself. Now, and it is built in by design. So anything you put on top of Amethyst will be ethical by default. It would be responsible by default. We look for biases. We look for potential hallucinations. We look for security. DPDPA is hitting us next year. So we have already put in privacy-related guardrails and a lot more social guardrails and so on. But the beauty of Amethyst is it takes all of it at core.
Yes.
That means anything you put as layers on top of will have the core becoming encapsulated and relevant by default.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. And finally, before we wrap up this segment, what does a system like Amethyst mean for you at Godrej Enterprises when it comes to future disruption? Are you kind of disruption proof thanks to this kind of very high tech that you're implementing at a core level?
So at Godrej Enterprises, our focus has been, consumer value, progress in terms of what the consumer needs from a futuristic standpoint. We have kind of pioneering progress is what we stand by. I think that's what Amethyst is going to enable in our products, in our solutions. It's going to make sure that we are addressing not just the needs of the past and the present. We are going to have an absolute futuristic outlook. It's going to be that dreamy layer, dreamy, let's say, the aspect of what we are that's going to change every touch point that a consumer or in the case of B2B and industrial projects, customers of ours will have, irrespective of which part of Godrej Enterprises they are interacting.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, and all the very best with your future endeavors. It's truly been a pleasure to have you here in ET Studios. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure is mine as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all we have for you on this segment, but do stay tuned to the Economic Times Business Verticals ET Studios, coming to you with all the live coverage and big insights right here at the India AI Impact Summit 2026. Stay tuned.